Here's the thing about Vassy Kapelos. She makes a lot of good points, and I like how she really asks hard questions, and a lot of the time it's to Liberal MPs and a lot of mainstream media journalists, if you even want to call them that. They don't really do that, but Vassy usually does. But for some reason, she was asking some really strange questions to Conservative MP Melissa Lantsman, and she gets absolutely shut down. So this is from CBC Watcher. He posted a clip here, and we'll look at that as well. It says, Vassy to Lantsman, why are you poking fun at Mark Carney for stealing your policies and not implementing them? Weird. Kapelos, who heavily advocated the Liberal strategy Trump pivot during the election, platformed almost exclusively dissenters like Tanecki, suddenly become a pit bull for CPC internal accountability. Where's the media accountability for shamelessly promoting the Trump elbows up fiction that evaporated the minute the election was over? So let's have a look at this exchange. It's about 5 minutes long, and then we'll talk about it.
For picking up what you would. I wanted to pick up on something you talked about, and sort of that I heard a lot from the leader in the House, Andrew Scheer, today, kind of roasting the government for taking ideas that the Conservative Party had put forward. Shouldn't your party be happy that those are being pursued rather than kind of dismissive of the government for picking up what you would characterize as good ideas?
We're certainly not dismissive of the government, but you have Mark Carney, who always, who on the campaign trail said that a plan is better than no plan, and we have yet to see a plan. So we're going to push for them to put a budget. Budget is a plan. First of all, throne speech is not a plan. It is a set of priorities. So we want to see an actual plan on the table. And if those include Conservative ideas, then we encourage them to take more of those.
So why are you making fun of them for doing so?
Well, look, I think that they've taken those ideas, or at least they said they've taken those ideas, but we haven't seen legislation yet that takes the burden of the carbon tax off the table. We haven't seen the elimination of that carbon tax. We haven't seen anything on crime, on the chaos, on the drugs, on the disorder in our streets. We certainly haven't seen a middle-class tax cut yet. I understand that the House is coming. So when we see those solutions, and if they happen to be Conservative solutions, then we'll encourage him to take those ideas and run with them.
What does it say about your party that Canadians ultimately, a majority of Canadians decided they'd rather see the Liberals implement those ideas than your party?
Yeah, look, I think we've got a mission ahead of us, and it is 5 clear priorities of reducing the cost of living, of making sure that we build affordable homes in this country, reduce the cost of building and the regulation around it, that we do something on immigration, a system that has been broken by the Liberals, that we address crime, and most importantly, that we grow the economy, that we attract investment in this country. That's what we're going to go back to the House with. That's what we're going to start the session with. That's what we're going to advocate for Canadians, and more than that, we'll show them that there is a government in waiting. We'll restore hope for those who, felt like this in December, and certainly still felt like this on Election Day. Those 8 million people that voted for Conservatives, we have a responsibility to them and to instill hope and change. And if it is pushing the Liberals to do that, that's exactly what we're going to be here to do.
But with all due respect, my question was about why Canadians ultimately in this election did not think that you were more than a government in waiting. Well, and even what you outlined, the things that you just talked about are very much what...
Like, how does she not understand this? Why did Canadians trust the Liberals? A, those Canadians are stupid. And B, fear-mongering. Retaliation or retaliatory tariffs on Trump, which, by the way, were gone before the election. Trump wants to take over Canada. That's what won them the election. That and Justin Trudeau being replaced by Mark Carney. It's pretty damn obvious, Vassy.
What we hear from Prime Minister Carney and from the Liberals, and ultimately there was a difference, right? Yes, a record number of Canadians voted free, but a record number of Canadians voted for the Liberals as well. Like, what kind of introspection has your party done on why that is the case?
Yeah, look, I think anytime you win or lose an election, there are things to look at about what you can do better. But going into the House and going into the session and going into the year, we're going to advocate for those things on Canadians. And if Mark Carney wants to talk about these things, that's one thing. But we want to see implementation. And I think the judge judgment of that from Canadians will be if he's able to implement, if he's able to deliver results. And right now we actually see the opposite of that. We've got ministers sort of freelancing about housing prices not having to go down, about not building pipelines, about working from home, and we see the government's first order of business is not to present a budget in a timely way for Canadians. So I think Canadians will be the judge of this government, and will continue to be the vigorous opposition and scrutinize the legislation that comes to the House.
And look, I do take your points on all that you just pointed about the government. I've asked the ministers the very same questions around accountability on all of that. But you kind of brushed aside my question about your own party's role in the outcome. And I'll put to you, look at all the shadow ministers. Everybody's in basically the same position. Nobody will really talk about, what kind of introspection you're doing or that you even really fell short. Like, what is the consequence of the election outcome for your party? And it's not just that you lost. It's that you lost when 6 months ago you were going to win.
Look, I think that, again, every time a party wins or loses, there's introspection that needs to happen, and the details of what that looks like will certainly make that clear to you when we decide sort of how to go about it. But I think there's been lots of introspection from from members of this party, from the new MPs that are here, maybe why they won, which kinds of coalitions. We've got to build out to attract more Canadians to the coalition while keeping the ones that we have. And there is, I think, plenty of time to look at what went right and what went wrong. But for now, we're focused on providing hope for all of those Canadians who did vote for change and who do expect us to scrutinize and oppose this government where appropriate, and work for all Canadians where it is appropriate.
Like, she keeps saying, "Oh, you're brushing by my question. You don't understand what happened? Did you not see the NDP's numbers absolutely collapse? Who do you think they voted for? The Conservatives? No, they obviously voted for the Liberals. The former NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, wanted it to happen. He even literally said he didn't want to call an election because he didn't want the Conservatives to have a majority, which they would have won 6 months ago. This has all been public. Like, what is she looking for here? And Melissa Lantsman, I understand people say, "Oh, she didn't answer the question." Well, that's kind of something that you want to kind of go over with as a party. And when they're ready to release it, they will. Again, they are not the current government in power. You want to hold someone accountable, hold Mark Carney accountable for doing nothing that he said he's going to do so far. He's the one in power. It's pretty... And again, Vassy's usually pretty good. Or at least sometimes she's pretty good. But it's like, what happened in the election? Mark Carney was switched in for Justin Trudeau, and the Donald Trump fear-mongering. That's clearly what swung things the other way. And for some reason, these dumb Canadians decided, hey, we're going to vote for a globalist banker who's friends with Trump. That'll show them. That's what they thought. What would you like Melissa Lantsman or Pierre Poilievre or any Conservative for that matter to do? They were going to win. The Liberals threw a Hail Mary with the help of Donald Trump, which he got exactly what he wanted, and they won. It really is that simple. But some people don't get it. Let me know what you think. Do you really understand what Vassy was getting at here? Because I can't believe that she doesn't understand why the Liberals won the election. But let me know what you think. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back shortly.